your thinking is limiting to the amount of money that you can earn in life. So
Mhm.
if you think you can only earn this much and you're so dependent on that one position, then that's pretty much where you're going to stay for a very long time.
Yep.
Unless you're able to think that, if there's something happening inside of you saying, "Hey, I think I'm capable of more," or I deserve a better salary because I see so many other people doing it. And again, maybe I see other people attaining the car that they want or the house that they want or going on the vacations that I want to go on and having some freedom about not being tied to work and having some flexibility and being able to do their work from wherever they go. But whatever it is that's kind of itching inside of you, is it possible to put together a plan to make that happen?
All right, everyone. So on today's episode, we have Damon from Logistics Sales. So, Damon, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, we've run a platform, a free platform, which is global, and it's more for education about opportunities in sales and entrepreneurship. And we have our motto, which is anyone can attain financial freedom, regardless of where you live, your educational background, your financial backing, or any obstacle that you think can be in the way. But we believe financial freedom is achievable for anyone, and it's just a mindset, and we're out to prove it.
I like that a lot because that's what I'm all about. That's what I preach a lot on social media. Is like anybody can achieve the dreams that they have. It's mindset. You just believe in yourself, take action, make it happen, and that's what you guys are doing. You're helping people do that.
100%. And, again, Nick, after our last conversation, the only thing I can keep thinking about is how you're such a good example of this, of someone that took control of your own financial freedom and made it happen. And again, not allowing any obstacle to get in the way. And again, breaking free of this mindset of ours, right? That's the hardest thing that people have a difficulty with is getting rid of this mindset. But man, like, there's only a few people that can humble me, and you're one of them. So,
Thank you.
so when it's you can recognize the hard work when someone does it, and I know how smart you are and how quick you are with everything that you do. So you're a master, and you've done a lot of great, amazing things. Thank you for that. I hope you share some of your stories, throughout the podcast as well. But definitely, that's what we're out to help people with, right? And just again, same messaging is and saying, hey, how can you move forward in life? Again, if you're feeling stuck, then let us be that platform for you that can give you that helping hand that to show you that it's all possible. And I mean, there's this is something that I wish that I had when I was growing up. And I wasn't as bright as you, Nick, growing up, but it was about learning it the hard way, right? I kind of went through situations where, again, first I was, raised by a single parent, so I didn't really have any financial means by any means, right? I didn't even know how I was going to finish my post-secondary education, like college or university. I had a little bit of scholarship money that the government gave us for, kind of having, the higher honor roll type of scholarship. It wasn't really anything major, but it lasted one semester. And so after one semester, I'm like, okay, how do I figure this out? I had no idea. My concept wouldn't go around, what a student loan was, or even if I got a student loan, how the heck do I pay this thing back? Because I have no income. And so it's like, how do you move forward in life? And then I had to go through so many different work experiences. And again, along that journey, I was working almost sometimes 24 hours a day, sometimes for some of these employers. And I didn't realize that, these labor laws existed, vacation rules were in place, but I had no idea. I was just kind of work, 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 grind, 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 because I'm trying to attain my goal of trying to finish my schooling. And
Yeah.
so when I saw this, I'm like, okay, well, again, I worked so hard to build other people's businesses and they would promise me things along the way. And so I really got to see, good ways of doing business, but I also got to see the bad stuff about business as well. And so, for me, it was about not having anyone else go through the pains and tribulations that I went through, and to see, okay, man, how can we just help people and structure deals in a way where no one gets hurt? And again, it becomes win-win situations for both parties. And I see big opportunities in the US. I see big opportunities around the world. and we could talk about some of that if you're open to it. So
Oh, yeah, of course, and I like that a lot because, like, you went through a lot to get to where you are, and I've gone through a lot to get to where I am, and I'm always grateful of my parents because it's like, okay, yes, they had a son with cerebral palsy, and right away, the doctor said that I might not talk. They said that I would never walk. They said that once I got to a certain age and I got too big to take care of, my mom would most likely have to put me into like a nursing home. And yet, here I am at 34 years old. I've owned my house for over 10 years. I have an acreage. Like, I'm living a great life. And that wouldn't have happened if we would just listen to the, so-called experts. Unfortunately, that's what happens a lot. People will tell you something, you believe it, and then you don't know if it's true or not.
yeah, and again, having our conversation with you, the things that kind of made you who you are is your work ethic. And that's one thing I picked up. Again, anyone that's worked hard, and you mentioned this too. You're like, hey, you worked hard, I worked hard. We pick up on each we pick up on it really quick because you know who's a grinder, you know who's a worker, and you pick up on it like this. And again, a lot of people that have gone through that journey will pick it up on the other side really quick. I know when you went to work, you were talking about again. Well, this is what I picked up from it. I know you might tell me something else, but I know that you were a superstar at work, and that again, you were one of those people that when you went to work, people would say, "Hey, I want this guy on my team," and they knew they saw the value in you everywhere that you went. And then again, even through your trials and tribulations, you ended up opening up your own businesses as well. And again, that takes a lot of grit, and it's not easy for people to do. But man, like but that's the formula. That's a formula that anyone can have. Like, how hard is it to be working honestly and ethically at work? How hard is it to show up to work every day and put the grind in and do it to the best of your ability? And that was the same formula that I had, Nick. It was just, you show up every day to work and you put in, whatever full effort that you can because you're thankful for the opportunity to be there, not taking it as advantage and just saying, "Ah, it's just an employer," but for us, it meant like everything, right? Because like
It
someone
did.
believes in us,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Someone's giving us this opportunity.
every
Go
place
for
that
it.
I worked, I felt like the company was mine. Like, I felt like I had, like, ownership in it because I was so proud to be working there and to be doing what I was doing. And, you know, finally, I was like, Why don't I do this for myself?" You know? Like, why am I building somebody else's dream when I could be building my own? So I like that you're helping people build their own dreams.
For sure. And then we also realized like it wasn't by accident. It was we were dedicated, right? At the places that we were working. It's only when those places of work turned.
Yep, exactly.
Right? There was turning points and, whether it's you get fired at a job, whether your company gets bought out by somebody else, whether it's your manager or your owner not allowing you to grow in that business or situation, and you feel like you still have a little bit more value to give, or you're feeling very stuck, right? But there was outside circumstances that dictated I know for both of us, dictated our, progression because we had to make pivots, and this happens to people again over and over and over again in life. Like there's some sort of pivot that happens. My mom, who was again a single parent, raised us three boys, right? Had to raise three of us. And my dad left when I was 4 years old. And so I saw my mom work two full-time jobs and just to support us. One 8-hour shift, come home, another 8-hour shift. And it wasn't until her company got bought out by somebody else and laid off all the employees because their wages were getting, maybe a little bit high. And so they're like, all right, we're just going to reset this button, right? Because we took it over and it's like, oh, well, that's devastation, right?
Mhm,
All of a sudden, my pay goes lower. I'm barely surviving as it is. I'm a single parent. I got to take care of kids. And then she had to pivot and she had to go to school, right? She was unemployed for a while. unemployment encouraged her to get into schooling. She got into a nursing program, and then she worked in the hospitals. And then now I saw like, oh wow, hey, that little bit of education, it was only like a year, maybe 2-year course, got her into a position where she could earn twice as much, and do half the hours of work.
Mhm.
And so you realize that, okay, well, hold on, what was she doing before? That formula was kind of broken,
Mhm.
where you're working 16-hour days and you're barely surviving. And this is like a lot of people in the US. You're working hard, right? And when you live in one of the greatest economies in the world, why is 61 to 64% of people living paycheck to paycheck?
Mhm.
Is that a broken formula?
Yep.
And I'm glad, Nick, you got into home ownership, but 50% of Gen Z believes that home ownership is not even possible for them.
Mhm.
And now again, you live in one of the greatest economies in the world, but hey, 50% of Gen Z doesn't really have aspirations that they think they could own a home,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So hold on, is there something broken here, or do we need to fix something? And especially when we live in one of the places that has great opportunities for us, and globally, there's multiple countries that do take care of their people. And there's another stat out by the World Bank, and the World Bank put out a stat too, and they said, hey, there's 1.2 young or 1.2 billion young people that are going to be entering into the workforce in the next decade. And they said, well, projections show that there's only going to be about 420 million jobs that are available for these people. And that leaves a shortfall of about 800 million jobs.
Mhm. Damn.
And so it's like, okay, well, hey, we have a little bit of a problem coming up here in the next 10 years,
Mhm.
right? So again, you're gonna be alive to see this. I'll probably be alive to see this, right? But in the next 10 years, it's looking a little bit bleak in some areas.
Yep. And that's why we are helping people create jobs. You know, that's what we do by helping people start businesses, grow businesses. We're creating more jobs.
100%. Yeah, Nick. Again, my hats off to you, right? I mean, I know what you're doing and the type of work that you're doing. You're helping small to medium sized businesses get bigger, expand their business. And this is the opportunity that I see for everyone that's watching here is to understand, hey, there's 35 million small to medium sized businesses in the US. And if you live in other parts of the world, yeah, you know what? There's millions of companies that are being established a year, but there's also millions of companies that need help every year because even in the States, 35 million small to medium sized businesses, factually speaking, it says that 50% of these companies are probably not going to be around in 5 years. So when we look and say, okay, well, hey, there's millions and millions of companies that are going to go out of business. How do we help them? Right. So again, if we are looking at opportunities and saying, okay, where do we find these opportunities? The first thing I say is, you know what? Take a look at Google Maps, right? Zoom out and see what's around you. And you're going to start noticing that, hey, you know what? A lot of the people that might be your neighbors might own small businesses or might be operating a business at their home. And those are the ones that aren't visible typically to us unless we figure out how to find those type of companies. But then can we have a conversation with one of them to see how we can help? And then so what we also teach in our program is we try to break down the sales myths. People just think sales is me trying to sell you this pen. Here, Nick, sell me this pen. I don't need it, but sell it to me anyways, right? So people that's what people think about when they think of these type of opportunities. But in reality, what is it? We're just trying to help people, right? So if you're doing customer service, if you know how to do good copywriting or write something, or even take a picture on your phone, put it on something, this is all sales, right? Sales is marketing. Sales comes in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be face to face. Again, nowadays, it could be through email. It could be through, again, any social media channel. It could be through a podcast like this. But there's so many different ways that, again, these opportunities exist. And each of these opportunities has the ability to attract revenue into a business. And so when you look at it, you can just say, okay, well, if I become a revenue generator for a business, now I can make an ask to have a piece of that, right? And revenue generation comes in two ways. One is either producing for somebody, and the second way is also reducing their costs so that they're able to make more, right? Have more to spend. And so what we realize is that, hey, these opportunities can be all around us if we're open to looking at it, and if we're open to opening up ourselves to allow these opportunities to come in. So what we're really doing is we're trying to expand the mindset for a lot of people so that they can start being open to the fact of allowing this stuff to come in. And again, it can be created however you want. And something that we learn in personal development is kind of like the workshop in the mind is whatever we have as limitations that we think we have,
Mhm.
we could build around that. So if I'm a single parent, I can be like, okay, hey, my kids are at school from this time to this time. Maybe that's the time I use to start putting towards like a side business, right? So that I can start saving for that rainy day.
Yep.
Again, or start building some savings, right? But this is a time I could use to experiment. Or maybe if I'm working 9 to 5, what am I doing after that? Can I put a couple hours a day in to start learning a skill, start building something? How can I add value to somebody else? Or what am I learning in my 9 to 5 job that I can go help somebody else with, right? So
I
there's
like that you're saying that because, like, for me, I started my business, man, well, I can never remember the year. 2022, I believe. I need to figure that out. It's kind of funny how, like, I've done so much, and it feels like I've been in business for 10 years. Like, that's what it feels like because I've done so much, but it hasn't really been that long. But for me, I started my business while I was working at another company, and then I even worked at another company after that because the business that I did, it was sold, and the buyer would not buy it unless I went with it because I had all the experience and knowledge. So I literally started my business, and then I had to go figure out a new, work at a new job, which was a, a big change. You wouldn't think so. It's the same industry, but it was. And then I was still building my business. And then finally, I think like 10 months ago, I left all that and just went full time on my own business, which is the best decision I've ever made because I could focus on my clients more. I could focus on learning the skills that I need to help my clients, and I could focus on myself. That was the most important thing, is my own personal development really went up once I was able to leave the kinda toxic job that I had.
yeah, and the job you were doing is a lot different from the business you're doing,
Yeah.
correct?
Oh, yeah. They're
Yeah,
2 yeah, they're way different.
and and so yeah, that's the major thing, right? That's where people think about like, hey, I'm doing this right now. I don't know if it's gonna help anywhere else, but again, being able to pivot like that, anyone is able to do it as long as you start intentionally putting something together, right? Again, it's about how do we create the vision for ourselves of where we want to be, a year from now or even 5 years from now. And I think that's the important lesson is like to be able to make a pivot and say, hey, you know what I'm doing today doesn't have to define me for the next 5 years or even for the next year.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
knowing that I have these choices. And that's one thing that we want people to know is like everything is a choice. It's a choice to be in the situation that we're in, right? And it's our choice if we want to change it. And again, the only person that's in control of that is you, right? There's
Mhm.
there's nobody really else. I mean, a lot of times we grow up, but we're conditioned in a way where we think it's up to my parents at first for my success in life. Then we leave it up to our managers and our supervisors or our employers, and we're looking always outside, right? Like someone's gonna see how hard I'm working, and someone's gonna give me these opportunities. And yeah, it happens a little bit here and there,
Yep.
right? But
Not a whole
again,
lot.
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, a good manager will take you up the ranks. And a bad one will be scared that you're gonna take his job. So,
Yep.
you know,
Exactly.
and and so again, you have to really trust that, hey, you know what? Maybe it's being recognized or ask yourself the question, do I have any control in this? Is there a decision that I could ask for or make? that could possibly get me into a better opportunity? Can I get into a position of opportunity to be able to create revenue for a company or to be able to, earn higher wages? How do I ask for that position as well? Or can I be educated? A lot of employers will put money into saying, okay, yeah, hey, you know what, you want to get educated? Yes, definitely. Yeah, we'll try to structure this so that you'll have increments and we'll help you with your studies to be able to get into this type of position, right? Or into management or into supervisory roles or whatever it may be. But again, it's about getting into a place where you can get that uncapped potential as well, and that's what we want people to realize that your thinking is limiting to the amount of money that you can earn in life. So if you think you can only earn this much and you're so dependent on that one position, then that's pretty much where you're going to stay for a very long time. Unless you're able to think that if there's something happening inside of you saying, "Hey, I think I'm capable of more," or I deserve a better salary because I see so many other people doing it. And, again, maybe I see other people attaining the car that they want or the house that they want or going on the vacations that I want to go on and having some freedom about not being tied to work and having some flexibility and being able to do their work from wherever they go. But whatever it is that's kind of itching inside of you, is it possible to put together a plan to make that happen? And it's not like I'm asking you to make a plan, but I'm just asking you if it's even possible, right? Is it possible to change careers? Is it possible to change the place of employment? Is it possible to be valued more for the same thing that you're doing right now?
Hmm. And I think it's always possible. You know, you might not see the possibility right now, but once you start focusing on looking for possibilities, you will find some. And that's where a lot of people get stuck is they don't look for opportunities and then they just stay where they're at.
Yeah, and that's just again, it's a shift of the mindset. And so, even as a person, have you heard about like the water ball? And depending on where you place the water ball, the different value it has. Have you heard about that one?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. So again, a water ball, same ball of water that's in a grocery store, you would be able to buy it for 50 cents,
Oh,
right?
yep, yep.
And then you go to the dollar store, yeah, obviously it's already doubled in price, it's a dollar now, right? And then you put it inside of a vending machine, now it's $4 to $5.
Hmm.
But at the airport, now it's $5 to $6, and then you put it on the airplane, and now it's worth $7, $8, right?
Yep.
So, again, depending on where you place that same one bottle of water, it's gonna attain a different value to it. And so that's not even changing any skill sets that you have, but just saying, "Hey, can I put myself in a different situation to be able to earn more?"
This episode is sponsored by A Topic AI for Opportunity. A Topic is an AI powered opportunity discovery platform. And the best word that I can describe it is ChatGPT. But instead of giving you information, it gives you real people you should be connecting with. Whether you're looking for clients, partners, investors, job prospects, or high intent leads, Topic makes it simple. You just type what you're looking for, and the AI thinks through thousands of signals, and then surfaces verified prospects with context, not random lists. It even helps you follow up, nurture conversations, and track your pipeline. What I love about Atopic and why I'm excited to have them as a sponsor is that they're solving the biggest problem in business growth, finding the right people at the right time. If you haven't yet, go to atopic.com and try it. It's one of the smartest tools out there for people trying to grow their business. Yeah,
Right? And again, it's
and that's so true because, like, just for me, I worked for my dad for 10 years. After that, I worked for another waste removal company called Cluckberg Services. I was very valuable there. And then the company that bought them, I was no longer valuable to them. And so, like, my work didn't change. I did the same job. It's just I wasn't valued there. So it's like I want people to know that you might just be at the wrong company. You could go do the same thing and find that you're more valuable somewhere else.
Yeah, but, again, I remember our conversation very vividly, even though it was a little while ago. But, I do recall how you built value within the organizations you were already at.
Mhm.
And that's an important piece too, is that anytime you're working at an employer, you're actually building your resume, right? And, from there, like you went and got your CDL, right? Commercial driver license. You ended up learning about technology to help the company advance, and you were able to help them build their success in that company, and almost, I think, can't remember the exact numbers, but I know you helped them grow quite a few with their customer base.
Oh, yeah.
And so when
A
you
lot.
when you have, pardon me.
I said, "Oh, yeah, I helped grow the, customer base by a lot."
Yeah, and so again, you took advantage of the opportunities you had,
Mhm.
and that's something that everyone has a possibility to do, like right now and today, is to say, okay, how do I show up at work? Is that one thing, is about how do I want to show up. And just understanding that if I start showing up, now I'm building myself as an individual. And now if I'm going to take another leap, then I've already built the confidence in myself to know that I can show up. And that's the biggest thing, is learning that, okay, hey, I can go develop more skills. I can learn something new, and then I can use the platform, the opportunity I have right now to be able to implement some of that. Then, and that's the thing. It's like, people, if we're taking initiative ourselves, then we can look outward and say, okay, hey, you know what? If I'm doing that now, can I ask my employer to do the same, to take some chances on me, because I'm willing to invest in myself and I'm willing to move up, and I could show that initiative instead of just asking for something and hoping somebody else will do it. And so what we teach a lot is that outward service, right? And it's like, hey, be outward focused, understand what that employer is going through, understand, what opportunity you may be looking at and how to obtain it by picturing ourselves in their shoes first. And then, having an understanding of that, when I'm going back to like that World Bank example about the 800 million shortfall when it comes to jobs. So what they're saying, worldwide, what happens is when people don't have jobs, and especially the people that are in youth, what happens is there becomes uprisings in countries, and we've seen this happen in Iran, seen this happen in Sri Lanka, where again the dollar value drops so much. We see this happening in so many different countries around the world, right? But in North America, what we see is a little bit different. We see people go on strike, right? A lot of strikes happen here. Like unions form, and then the unions want to strike because, like, we all want more, we want more, we want more, and everyone wants more money. But then, the thing that, I hate to say this, but one thing that people maybe might not be looking at is to even say, "Hey, is the company even profitable?" Like, again, where's that money gonna come from?
Mhm.
And the same thing happens in government. Governments have budgets. The state of California has been, way over budget many, many times, on the verge of bankruptcy many, many times.
Yep.
And we say, well, like, but that's one of the most thriving places in North America is California.
Mhm. Yep.
California's got Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and it's got everything, right? So everyone kind of looks at it as one of the major destinations people want to travel to in the world, or even live in the world.
Yep.
But
I
then
don't
again,
want to live there, but yeah. I think I heard yesterday that, gas prices are like $7 a gallon right now.
they're
But,
getting high. They're
cheaper.
getting high. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not cheap to live there.
No.
But the thing is again, when we look at that and we say, okay, well, wow, everybody wants more money, everybody wants more, 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 but they're not really thinking about how it's really going to happen. And even governments have to think about, okay, well, where's that revenue going to be generated from? And again, do they want to be raising those fuel prices to be getting that tax money to come in? Do they want to be raising, their individual taxes for their constituents? All that money has to come from somewhere, right? And it's usually coming from, like, again, this private sector. It's coming from individuals. But again, that money has to be generated somewhere in order for it to be able to give you that raise. And so again, the other way to do it is to take accountability for it, right? Hey, if I'm not happy with the employer that I'm with, can I do something about that? Can I create my own opportunities? Can I do just a little bit extra to try to get financial freedom in a different way? And if I've outgrown my expenses, then maybe I need to look in and say, okay, well, who is that problem? Is it my employer or is it me? Right. So I think a lot of this stuff needs to change because I think the way that we're headed right now is going to cause a lot of grief for people. Again, we see opportunities again with 35 million entrepreneurs that are in the US right now with the small to medium sized businesses. Like a lot of these guys need help, have the conversation, try to work as a community to build each other up instead of tearing each other down. And that's what we want to be able to teach through, the possibility of how do we create these partnerships? How do we do it in a way where it's positive for everybody and we help everybody win? Like, let me help my neighbor,
Mhm.
right? And
So,
and see how that works.
how do you guys help people that I work with you?
How do we help people with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, like, how do you help your, clients? Like, what is it that they can expect to gain by working with you?
For sure, yeah. So we have a 4-step process. The first one is just again showing them what the opportunities are. We show them the line between employee and entrepreneurship. Employee line is kind of like a straight line like this at a very comfortable level, salary level that kind of just hovers here. And this is a lot of people, when they're working any sort of job. And the entrepreneur line is usually a little bit on the lower side, usually sometimes even at zero.
Yep.
And usually it takes about 18 months to meet the line for employee. But after 18 months, it has a chance to possibly skyrocket. And so, again, the two lines, one's pretty much linear, other one's going up on a curve like this, and that curve is the opportunities that sales and entrepreneurship, or even learning skills or trades can provide you when you take that route. And just understanding that that's in your hand, and you could actually again have increases of 10, 20, 30%, 100%, 200%, 400%. You kind of know this from business anyways. But so the first step is just showing them, okay, what's possible, and we show them a bunch of different types of jobs that are available, how to find those jobs. But again, one is we're just trying to break that mindset of saying, hey, this is possible. Secondly, we're trying to break down the myths of sales. So again, talking about some of those things I was telling you before, right? Sales comes in multiple different ways. So that's step number two. And step number three is now it's like, where do I find these opportunities? So we talked about that a little bit too. Zoom out on Google Maps, take a look there. And then again, you can take a look on job boards, see what you're interested in. But we'll teach you a bunch of different ways to be able to connect with people and to find those opportunities. And step four, what we're trying to do is just again give you tips, tricks, skills, so that you can create these win-win partnerships with people and really to capitalize on achieving your financial freedom. So every episode that we have gets you to start, or not every episode. After the first 3 episodes, we release free weekly episodes, and after the third one, we have worksheets that go with each episode that we have that makes you reflect inwards and makes you get to some of those points where you can start making an action plan. So I know a lot of people sometimes, again, it's we want to help them with like the baby steps and help them build that foundation. Again, doing it in a way where they can really truly understand what this opportunity looks like. Do it in a way from service, in a way that they feel good about inner alignment of what they're going to be doing. So if they can resonate with it, feel good about it, then they're most likely going to build a solid foundation to have success at whatever they're planning to do. And that's important for us too, because it's not like the Wolf of Wall Street type of sales where you try to go out and you're hungry and you're just greedy for money, money, money. But again, do it in a way of service where it feels good and you can still obtain the same result. And just learning that there's multiple ways to achieve, to get to the top of the mountain, that there's so many different ways to come up here, and we're just trying to teach you a bunch of those to see what actually resonates with you. So we typically tell people like, hey, watch a couple of these episodes and see what resonates with you to see what the right path for you may be, not what Damon's saying or what Nick is saying. We've had different paths, but we kind of end up in the same spot, right? Where again, we don't have to. For me, it's not worrying about where that next paycheck's gonna come from, or not worrying if I don't have to work for a year, 2 years, etc. Right? It's whatever nest egg we're able to build up, but we're able to do it through those financial opportunities that I never knew existed before. And when you get exposed to it, it's something that you definitely want to share back
Uh-huh.
and say, hey, you know what? Nobody needs to face financial hardships, especially if we have the opportunity to do something about that. And then that choice is again ours, not somebody else's to make in life.
Exactly, exactly. And, for the listeners, what do they have to do to start working with you guys?
Um, yeah, so they can go to our website, logisticsales.com, and we have all our social media links down there. But just subscribe to that. You'll be getting weekly episodes, get the updates of what we're doing. You're able to start asking questions. And again, if you are on a journey and you've done some of the work that's required of you, then yeah, reach out to us in the comments. Let us know how we can help you. Let us know how we can help you get to that next step that you're trying to get to achieve your financial freedom, and anything along your journey that we could do to help or connect you with the right people to be able to help you. And again, no cost.
Awesome, that's awesome. I love what you guys are doing. It's so cool, and it's so needed, so thank you.
No problem.
And
Thank you, Nick.
then my slogan is, "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it essentially means, again, whatever you're putting your mind to, you can achieve. And I don't think there's anything that can prevent you from achieving what you want as long as you're able to visualize it. And more importantly, I think it's just seeing the steps. If you could actually visualize where you're going to be, I mean, I think, God puts that into our heart for a reason. There isn't a dream that we have that we cannot achieve. And again, if we start putting some action steps towards that and start moving towards it instead of putting ourselves in a silo, and a silo is just, again, scrolling on social media all day long, right? That's a silo as much as we think we're learning. But there's a lot of people that I know that have learned massive, massive amounts of information, but there's no application to it.
Mhm.
So again, knowledge without application doesn't really mean anything unless you're just want to be a resource for people with that knowledge, which you can maybe monetize as well, right? If
Yep.
you got the right knowledge. But again, there's got to be some sort of application step or action step to be able to move that forward. But I believe, as soon as you follow that journey, other doors start opening up in your life. Necessarily, we don't know what they're going to be, but these are hidden doors that open up every time we're willing to take a step, right? And so if we keep in faith, and faith will always tell us that, once we're ready to take that first step, that, the universe or whatever you want to call it will take those next steps with us. And those steps are a lot bigger than what we can even imagine. But again, it's our willingness to take that first step to start opening up those doors. Otherwise, they don't open, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah. So find the courage to move forward, and that is infinite possibilities exist only if we choose to move in that direction of those possibilities.
Yep, exactly. I agree 100%, and that's what we're here to do, help people take that next step and then continue stepping until they get to where they want to be, which
For
I
sure.
don't think it ever ends. I think as an entrepreneur, you just always want to grow and help more people. I know I do.
Yeah, 100%. That's our biggest motivation. That's why we are doing it for free as well.
Yeah.
But we want people to share their stories with us. We want to hear, how that one step led to something. It doesn't have to be, again, it doesn't have to be big, right? I mean, sometimes a small step is just going to a new community group to share experiences. It's just getting out of your comfort zone, right? If it's something about you post something that you want to share on social media that comes from the heart, right? Like these are just small steps that we can take that we never know what type of feedback we get and what doors are going to open because we're willing to put ourselves out there. And again, it's something that just, can I go talk to my neighbor? And ask them about their business. If you notice that they had a business name pop up on their house, just go have that conversation or reach out to somebody on LinkedIn and have a conversation as well and just say, hey, I'm looking to learn about what you do in the type of field that you're in. Can you spare 5 minutes for me? But something to push you out of that comfort zone. If you're doing something small, try to do like 10 reach outs. But something small just to kind of let you know and say, hey, is this next step for me? But yeah, that's it. Simple steps.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Damon, thank you so much for being on the show. It was really great. I know I learned a lot. You got me thinking a lot during that. So I thank you for that because I'm always looking for new ways to do things and new mindsets to have. Like am I doing this as best as I can? You know? So thank
Yeah, thank you, Nick, for being a role model for so many people. Definitely, you're a role model for me. So I appreciate everything that you do, and uh, keep teaching people about these infinite possibilities that's within them.
oh
Awesome.
yeah, for sure. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit. Because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth, help more people. Alright, everyone, remember your abilities are infinite.